Good morning. I'm John Rollins, the director of the GW Business Plan Competition, once again. And I'd like to welcome all of you to the final round of our competition this morning. Today is World Entrepreneurship Day, that one day every year when, for 24 hours, entrepreneurship and innovation are celebrated around the world. And again, this year we've timed our competition to coincide with World Entrepreneurship Day. It's the mission of World Entrepreneurship Day to inject a dose of optimism into the world and remind everyone that it's the entrepreneur-led small businesses that have taken us from recession to prosperity time and again throughout our history, and we're all hopeful that that will happen again this time. You've probably read that it's the entrepreneur-led small businesses that are responsible for 80% of net new jobs in the U.S. economy, and also on the innovation side, create innovations at a rate 13 times as much per employee as big businesses do. So let's hear it for these entrepreneurs. They're doing a great job. So it's our task today to choose among the final four teams, or for our judges to choose among the final four teams, which will be the first place winner of $20,000, which will be second place for $6,000, third place for $3,000, or fourth place for $1,000. We started back on February 1st with over 100 teams, and it's really been to the credit of all the 36 judges I've worked with over the several months since then that we've been able to narrow it down to the final four this morning. It's the judges that have done the heavy lifting, reading all the plans, vetting them, meeting for extended hours. I think we met for 3.5 hours a couple of weeks ago to get it down to the final 8 teams. And these judges are all entrepreneurs or small business owners or investors in businesses themselves. So they all have entrepreneurship in their DNA too, like the teams of students that we're seeing make their presentations here. In fact, the judges have commented to me consistently that the teams this year seem to be a higher quality than the teams have been in previous years. And I think that's because this year we've added more educational initiatives to the program that we've had in the past. Last year, which was our first year, I taught a workshop on how to write a business plan, and that was pretty much the extent of the educational side. This year, we've added educational initiatives. Well, let me just list them. The first one we added was David Tomczyk and Professor George Solomon taught workshops on how to write a great executive summary. Is Professor Solomon here? David, I know you're here. You want to stand up? I just want to recognize the efforts of these guys. Because remember, the first leg of the triathlon is writing a great executive summary to get into the second round where you write the 15-page business plan. And then for the third phase, which is the phase we're in now, the oral presentations, Professor Linda Maddox taught a workshop on doing great oral presentations. Linda, could you stand up? And following that workshop, she actually worked one-on-one with the final 8 teams to hone their presentations to be as great as they were yesterday. So thank you very much, Linda. The third new initiative that we added this year was a mentorship program where we worked with EO, the Global Entrepreneurs Organization, which is a global network of young entrepreneurs. You may be familiar with that. And the president of the local chapter of EO here in the Washington area is Josh Fry. Is Josh here? I know he was here yesterday. But he set up those connections between our teams that wrote business plans and mentors who are CEOs of fast-growing companies here in the Washington area. And I gather from feedback I've gotten from some of the teams, those really went well. And they got a lot of good feedback on their plans and presentations from their mentors. And the fourth and final new initiative this year was the poster session that we set up out here in the Dean's Lobby yesterday all day, where we offered teams that did not make the final 8 an opportunity to display their poster and thereby meet with potential investors and and collaborators on their businesses. And for those teams that did display posters, I think they were well rewarded for the time they put into designing those posters. So now it's down to the panel of 4 judges to choose which are the best teams. I'd like to introduce our judges. On my left is Ann Scott. Ann, could you stand up? Ann is actually pinch hitting. Her husband, Rick Scott, was, if you look at your program, was going to be our judge here this morning. But Rick, 3 days ago, decided to run for governor of Florida. So he's got some other things on his mind right now. But I really appreciate Ann filling in because she is an entrepreneur herself. She owns and operates her own interior design business in Florida. So thank you, Ann. Next to Ann is Mark Kashida. Mark, could you stand up? Mark, with his Harvard MBA, has launched 3 new businesses over his career, served as COO of Intertrust, which is a DRM, digital rights management company, that he sold for like $500 million at one point along the way. Then he went to Microsoft and served as the general manager of the Windows Enterprise Networking area at Microsoft. He's from Seattle, by the way. And now he's currently a partner in OVP Venture Partners. Welcome, Mark. Thank you. Al Herskowitz is our 3rd judge. Please stand up, Al. Al has his master's degree from GW's School of Engineering and Applied Sciences. Later spent 21 years with SAIC, great big government contractor that recently moved its headquarters from California to here in the Washington area. And he retired as senior vice president in 2000. And again, true to the entrepreneurial DNA, he spent the last decade consulting with small businesses on their organizational and product strategies. Thank you, Al. And Bill Wilson, please stand up. Bill has gone from being a professor, he has his PhD in psychology from the University of Michigan, to being a CEO and entrepreneur. He has served as CEO of One Line Management. Later, he founded a company called Split Rock Services, where he was CEO. It was a data services company that later sold for over $2 billion. He currently serves as chairman and CEO of Rio Ray, which is a young, high-growth company here in Bethesda, Maryland, that designs and manufactures internet security equipment. Welcome, Bill. So it's up to you 4 to make the calls this morning. The rules are very simple, same as yesterday, 20 minutes for each team to present. When we get toward the end of the 20 minutes, David Tomczyk will hold up his green, yellow, and red signs with 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and 1 minute remaining, respectively. Each member of the team needs to present, and after the presentation, we'll do Q&A from the panel of judges. They're free to make comments of any kind, and if they run out of questions, we're going to welcome questions from the audience as long as we have time for those questions as well. We rolled the dice again to determine a random sequence for the presentations, just like we did for yesterday, and the first presentation will be by Carmen.